Is it true in the old days, old, long, long ago,
Yeah.
that many canoes sailed together, not just one, many canoes, when they voyaged?
That's why now we try to follow that. But everybody, people at this time, nobody knows. People that canoe, nobody knows. Sailing in the ocean. Nobody knows. Teaching the young generation. See? You know why? Because they follow the American custom.
Grandmaster Navigator Pius Maupialug from the tiny island of Sarawak in the Caroline Islands of Micronesia first came to Hawaii in the mid 1970s. Bucking tradition and breaking taboos of his homeland, he brought back to the Hawaiian people the ancient and lost art of wayfinding, non-instrumental navigation, bringing life back to a culture that was dying. A simple islander who crossed an ocean and changed the world. In 2001, Mao comes to Hawaii for 3 reasons: to visit with Shorty and Clay Bertelman, navigator and captain of the Makali'i, to talk about the canoe Clay intends to build for Mao to bring home to Micronesia as a learning tool, and most importantly, to receive a long overdue public tribute from the Hawaiian Voyagers, 25 years after Mao's first voyage on Hokulea. Mao's 2 passions, the building of a canoe for Micronesia and the Hawaiian canoe families coming together to work as one, are of equal and urgent importance to him, because ironically, the ancient culture he brought back to Hawaii is fading away in his homeland. Then the main reason for his trip emerges. Mao writes a speech for his tribute that he hopes is a call for unity, to bring the separate Hawaiian canoe families on different islands back together as one. Only by working together will the Hawaiian Voyagers preserve the culture and navigational skills taught to him by his grandfather on Sarawak.
We have made it as one. Don't forget, at the beginning of our voyages, we want to do it as no.
Mao and Maxio Aramai meet with other fellow Micronesians for the final translation of the speech.
What's dessert?
We all want dessert, especially him. He wants chocolate and ice cream.
I have chocolate.
Don't forget that at the beginning of our voyages, we didn't do it. We did it as one.
See, it's really nice in our language, but when you translate it to English, it's a little awkward.
In our language, it's really touching.
Okay, let's finish it up, man. When are we gonna sleep? Kailangan trabaho important nga lagay sa sweet teacher.
No.
Okay, you ready?
Okay.
This is the final speech for Mr. Pielu, Mao Pielu, Papa Pielu, from the Chief of Lotho, Chief of Samoa, Chief of Magmok. Okay?
Saban guys.
Okay. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming together here today. I'm really happy for this gathering that you have made for all of us. Don't forget that at the beginning of our voyages, we did them as one. In 1999, when Makali'i made the first voyage to Micronesia, it awakened my people, and for that I thank you, Hawaii. When the sun rises tomorrow, it is my hope that we unite so that my dream will become a reality. My dream of building a new canoe for Micronesia. Aloha and mahalo for each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart. That's good enough, huh?
Papa, You like?
In Waimea, while staying with Clay Bertelman, Mao studies a chart of the Central Pacific, and talk turns to the 1999 Makali'i voyage, when after 2 decades, Mao's dream of a Hawaiian canoe sailing him home to Micronesia, bringing the excitement of the culture back to his own people, finally became a reality.
So you stay here, you stay for 6 months?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Could you show me that route again that you took from Hawaii when you took Mao home?
Hawaii.
Okay.
We left from Hawaii all the way down to Majuro. Then from there, from Majuro, they come to Kusrai. And from Kusrai to
At islands en route to Samoa, the people of Micronesia celebrate the arrival of the canoe and give honor to Mao.
Then from Pohnpei to
On Chuuk, Mao's son Peter sails out to greet him and the canoe.
from Chuuk to Punlap.
On Pula, as is custom, Mao is given a new name by that island and is officially designated as Grand Master Navigator.
Punlap dan Puluan. Puluat to Sarawak. Sarawak to Westfire, from Westfire to Guam. Rota, Tinian, etc.
Makali'i Kupuna, Auntie Marie Solomon flies in from the Big Island to honor Mao at the Voyager's final destination.
We could no longer read the signs. We were not friends of the stars. This man heard the cry of the culture of these people. We have lost ours, and he came and he gave back to us the pride, the heritage that was ours. We can now stand tall because of this one man that we love, this one man that came and gave us the knowledge that we had lost. Today, we stand before you as Hawaiians, and we say thank you. Auto, mahalo nui loa. And of course, we are very happy to be here. Thank you.
This sale that just happened on Makali'i has waken up the whole Micronesia. Makali'i going from island to island, just open up everybody.
Mao and Shorty Bertelman, Mao's first Hawaiian navigational student beginning on the 76 Hokulea voyage to Tahiti, sit together for what is, surprisingly, the first joint interviews that these two quiet and shy men have ever consented to.
Remember the night we have storm, we wait, and then we go some more. Then I asked you, wow, we look at the North Stars,
North
it's the
Star, yeah.
same your island, remember? You said, okay, use this one. Then we remember we turn, we make straight,
Yeah.
then we find Majo.
Arlo, where?
Arlo right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we actually planned for this trip 1996
Yeah.
and before that. But actually, when you look at it, well, we talk about going to Micronesia a long time ago, yeah?
Yeah.
From 1976, we've been talking about, it never really happened. We took 2 years to plan the date to leave, and as just because of bad weather, just because of hurricane seasons, this is the most intense. This is the most radical weather on the planet right here.
Where?
In Micronesia.
Really?
Yeah. So like the Hawaiians before, traveling, time was not important. It's like timing was more important. Well, I heard about Mao before I met Mao. I heard about him. I was so glad to be a part of this, knowing that there's this canoe that's gonna do this thing for like a experiment to Tahiti and everything. And so I got involved with the Hokulea and I got to sail it around the islands and we did training. We were all just learning. And for us as Hawaiians, it is, everything was lost for like hundreds of years. There's nobody to say, okay, it was this way, nobody to say it was that way. There's no information as how the canoes were made, exactly how the canoes were made, what knots were used, the sail and everything. So like for me, it was like, I was so pumped up to learning all this stuff, but there's really no resource, no one alive, nobody that knew what it would take and what it's like and how it was done. And one day, we were working on a canoe and I heard about somebody being here some navigator or whatever. I just walked up to him and just took a look at him. And we never met. We never even looked at each other. And I just knew that this person was very special. He was carving on masset, and I don't know if you saw him using his ads. It's so meticulous, and it's something I never saw before. I just was just totally
Remember when we finished work, then I say, okay, sit by me because I like to show you something. Me and him stay together. Always we stay together. It's the time I started teaching him about the stars.
When we retire, we go to sleep at night. That's when their day begins. I mean, that's when everything comes out. The stars. I mean, like that's when everything happens, right?
Sometimes me and him stay outside. He opened the fan to me I dream. We look, the sunrise is come out. Oh, we're gonna call them. We started to work again.
Yeah, we realized that we were up all night. Never everybody went to bed, but we were getting the canoe ready, so it was like working 12 hours a day.
And you were Mao's first student, weren't you?
I don't want to say that because that's going to eliminate and it might interfere with other people's opinions about everything.
He tells me that.
Yeah, he tells everybody that, so I respect that.
First trip on the Hokula is, I'm a little bit scared because first time I tried that, then I never sailed from here to Tahiti before. But after 15 days, then I'm thinking, well, maybe scared is not too good. I like make wrong inside my body. Because I'm thinking maybe I'm scared. I think lost. Because inside my head, many things, I don't know which way. This way or that way.
First time.
Yeah, first time.
And you did something nobody ever did before. Well, at least in 2,000 years, right?
Yeah.
How'd that feel to you?
Huh?
How did that feel?
Maybe it's okay.
What he did is what he's still doing is so amazing, so amazing. Him in his own, among his own people, amongst his own teachers and everything. He's like nobody's ever even thought about things and accomplished the things in one lifetime, let alone 2-3 lifetimes he did. After meeting Mao, it's like he was like a living ancestor and a real life master navigator. He'll tell you about your past and about your ancestors, about who they were like and what they did.
At Mahukona, Mao explains his navigation that was taught to him by his grandfather.
Navigation, weather, safety, and Pirtakir. The first one, Pirtakir.
Camila. Mo irong mina sa pagkira to ng ino. Ibur Christian to go. Achara ramig. Kung ditiri usul papra.
When we feel the kind of first finished, then we go try navigation.
Pafu, counting of the stars, and that's the first thing to learn when you start to learn navigation.
The navigation stars is 32.
We asked Papa to give you folks. Pafu? Pafu is actually what he does is count the stars.
Okay, this is, you guys call this one, the stars, how many?
30.
32. This is north. This is south. This is theta 9. This side setting. That side rising. In Micronesia, they use the rock, small rock like this. They put around.
They would draw it in the sand or the dirt?
No, they put the sleeping mat. They put the rock inside the sleeping mat.
Isfaile petale maina pene me wala wala ipare pege ne parina para tisfai pa pege maina pene mer rapayer edion sarrepon tumur mesaru taluk metsemes no repon mo ngai leimi bur payefang tubulun tubur margar tubur mer tubur gidik tubur wala tubur mari perfang tubur fishmal.
There, Pafu, then you learn Arum. Arum is when you part the stars. That means mail up, that's your rising, mail up to your setting. That's when you part the stars. North to south, east to west.
This is tubur maina dan man tubur fishmal tubur dan man tubur tumur. This side is rising, that side is setting. Okay.
Same degrees they rise from east, and they set in the same degrees the west. Upset direction, or upset from where they rise, and they set in the opposite way.
When the stars setting straight to the island. When the stars rise from the island.
Then you go to Ofalu, that means they place the islands under each star point.
It's just as far as the constellations go, the ones that Western society uses, he sees them differently. Papa's direction of stars, they're not all equal in space. It's very directional. It's very, like he said, it's to the islands.
We start learn about the navigation stars. After that, we learn about the storm stars.
Some stars that come in the summer.
Yeah.
Good weather, yeah, Ma?
Yes.
Then you get the stars that, you know, we have big heavy surf and there's like March winds and everything. Those stars will arise around the exact same time. They will tell you that, you know, this is the time of the year when it's really windy and plenty rain, yeah, Ma?
Yes.
But each star is named for a reason. It's there and it has its own story, and it's like a person. It's like a friend. It's like, you know what I mean. It's like it's more than just it's not a star in the middle of nowhere.
The old men before they say, better you learn about the navigation and the weather.
If you learn how to navigate but you don't know the storm stars, that means you'll get into trouble in the water.
If you don't know how to watch the weather, you're gonna die. 5, one from north, one from northeast, one from east, one from southeast, one from south. Wave in the ocean is depends on the wind.
Imu dapat tanam. Namu lito mi kamu di mina not fellow wala. Mo lito mi. Sibuiti tir fellow wala gilar.
The wave from the northeast come bigger. But the southeast, we see that on top of the water is not too high. The swells, they follow the wind.
Ye ulu lalu di lakan. Iga siu pula. Ye ulu di pula yene. Pemisah tahun kali sudah. Online. When the wind blowing this way, blowing from east or northeast or southeast, then we see the wave is come this way, and then the wind changes. When the wind blowing this way, and then this side, no more wave come this way, because the wave is follow the wind. The wind is blowing this way.
So that's how you told me once you could just be lying down, resting on the canoe with your eyes closed.
Yeah.
And you can feel the wave change.
Yes.
You don't even have to see it.
Sunrise, if it's sunrise, it tells you the weather for the day. Sunset tells you the weather for the night.
That's why every morning, every evening, we're gonna watch the sun. Which way the sun come up? Straight east. And then we know the wave come up straight from east to the canoe.
Mao's whole thing, when the sun comes up, he predicts what the weather's going to be like during the day. But in total respect to that certain day, is like his whole star chart that tells him the weather this year, next year, and how all the stars correlate to the time of year, what the weather should be like. When you look at his charts, the way he looks at weather, and you look at the meteorology stuff, and when people are predicting weather, it's amazing to see the correlation.
Buang. Buang is a general name for all kinds of, fixing house, to repair houses, that's buang. When your canoe flip over in the ocean, that's you have to do certain techniques that called buang.
Or you go to the ocean and the canoe is capsized, then we use the safety.
If you're a navigator and you don't know how to fix canoe, how can you sail in the ocean? That's a big problem. It's worthless and it's useless learning navigation.
Because some people, they go in the water, the canoe is deep water, nothing to do. They're gonna die.
And the bangag is, if you're heading that way, then you know that island is under this star point. Once I move forward, this island will move under these stars.
What Mao does in his navigation is going from point A to point B. That's where he's going. Here's his canoe going his canoe going that way. He's going there. What's moving is this over here. This other point, C. Or maybe the C is more over here. Yimlo is master family dalmenu? Kapang?
Lupung.
Lupung. There's a word for it, lupung. Isn't that right, Mom? What you're watching is this thing here. That other island. When that other island is over here, you're over there, where you're supposed to be. So you're not really, looking at this. You're looking at this thing, and you keep moving this in your mind. That
You cannot see.
you cannot see that. It's in your mind, and you're thinking every day. You check the speed of your canoe and going, and you're telling yourself, okay, it's here now. Okay, it's here. Okay, it's here. By the time that target C is back there, you're where you're supposed to be.
So the canoe's not moving.
Canoe's not moving, it's the other target's moving. So you're not only learning the star to use to where you want to go, but you know where the other island is. If there's any problem, you know where the other place is.
You keep track of all those reference islands, and everything you have to work it out from your head.
And you move direction you keep the canoe always in the center of the star compass, right?
Right. Like canoe here. Then around my canoe, I know where I stay, because when I sailing, everything, when I sail to this way, everything move back. But we don't see too far, but keep inside.
Yeah, it's really complicated because everything you have to keep up here.
Navigation is not just knowing the stars.
Yep. Yeah, you use
Everywhere.
everything.
Like bird, fish, sails, we see on top of the water.
And you have to master everything, all the techniques that you have to use in the ocean, and be able to reach land instead of lost into Philippine seas.
I know that Papa would never get lost on the ocean anywhere, but does he have the same instinct on land?
You don't get lost on the ocean, but on land, you get lost.
Oh yeah. Too bad because you guys busy. Maybe you cannot busy. We go tomorrow to Micronesia, come back.
No look at Mao is complete without a look at Nemanong, Mao's home on Sarawak, the last property at the edge of the forest. Here, Mao and his wife Katrina have lived and raised 16 children. And now, they help care for over 24 of their 60 grandchildren. Although he's opposed to its effect on the culture, his grandchildren love TV. So on a return visit from Hawaii, Mao brings a television and VCR for the family to watch. At Nemanong, Mao is at his most playful and his most serious.
What is your tattoo?
This one?
Yeah.
I get this from the Puset Island, from Hawaii.
I never heard of that island.
Honolulu, number one Puset, Before, everything, the people before they know how to talk to the clouds or wave, because they say spirit with everything, like the spirit for sea, spirit for the tree, spirit for in a force. When the Christians come, he say nothing, only the God. But us, we know the God, but different spirit. And then everybody follow the way of the church. Me too, before. But when I study about the church, I said, oh, no good. How come I throw away my knowledge and I gonna use another one? Another one is not for me, from outside. But the people, the time for church come, I think they crazy.
You follow the old religion?
Yes. That's why I get mad to the people this time, because they follow the custom from outside. They throw away the custom, our custom. That's why they lost everything from before. Because you know why, Anne? Money. They want money, but they don't know how. They don't know how to make the money. They don't know how to make the moral. They don't know how to make the boat. They don't know how to make the big ship. And then they want to follow the holy way. That's why I get mad to them from Micronesia. Now if they lost, yeah, I left.
You want a lot of canoes together so people could see the culture.
Before in Hawaii, like that. Many canoes before. That's why when I say something, for the culture before many canoes, like in my home too. Then now, only my island they have canoes, really island no more in Micronesia. That's why I like pick up again about the all way before.
Since Makali'i's maiden voyage in 95 to Tahiti, thousands of students from all over Hawaii have come to the Va'a to learn the culture and heritage of their ancestors. Whenever he's on the Big Island, Mao makes certain to spend time with the Makali'i to talk with the students. Answering questions from the younger generation, passing on his knowledge, Mao knows it's with the children that the future survival of the culture resides.
If your sail rips, would you sew it or would you have another sail like as a spare?
No, we sew.
Seas, would it be possible to even fix it at the time? Like, would you have to wait to fix the
When the
sail?
rough seas, then we put down the sail.
Everything down.
Everything down. Then we secure the canoe. Because we don't know how big the wave, how big the wind. Then we secure the canoe before the big wind comes.
It's something I really thought would never happen. I know. Like, I really never thought in my head that I would ever get to talk to Papa Mao. You know?
Me too. My brother's named after her. And I never met him.
We all know about you, you know, and learn about you in school. You know, we take a whole class and like learn about Papa Mao. Like here you are, like we're so stoked to meet you, and we're like calling home and telling our parents. How do you feel about that? Good?
I feel very good. You guys don't forget about the culture. When you guys start to learn from Sorry Berman, President Berman, Chet Pasan, Narawa Thompson, you guys learn about that. Then. When you learn good, then you go like this. Don't forget.
Mao now teaches the kids the star compass taught to him by his grandfather, which before Mao has been kept secret in his family for 3,000 years. Mao teaches the kids the Micronesian names for the stars, which is a special thing.
Next one, Metz-Meas. Metz-Meas.
MECHEMAIS. We are also proud of his visiting and bring back the cultures in those countries.
They really like what the Mao did because they think that his island is kind of like famous of his of this knowledge that we're having.
Some people they say they like it. Some people they say that they don't.
At home, it's all hidden. It's a family value, you know, that you don't just go and tell anybody.
When we sailing to Tahiti, when I come back home, somebody asks me what we do, then I say, no compass, no this one, we use the stars. They met
you.
They met me.
They didn't know what were all the things that he did out there. They just knew that he sailed the Hukulea from Hawaii to Tahiti and to those other places. But they didn't know how big his name is right now.
Oh, that makes me feel so proud of my dad. People really understand how important these skills that he taught to people in Hawaii. It's really, I feel great about it.
Mao went beyond what we usually do here. In the navigational ways, they said he has a different world. He's in a different world than what usually done here in Sato.
On board Makali'i, Mao watches as Clay Bertelman shows his passion and keeps his promise to pass on the knowledge. Clay, like Mao, knows that the future of the culture lies with the kids.
So everybody put emphasis on stars, yeah? But it's all elements, yeah? Okay? Mao first came to teach. Everybody was in awe about to keep me sleeping. Yeah? When the canoe changes its course or goes off, you can tell. You guys can understand why now? You see the way the waves are coming this way. So the waves are coming this way, the canoe's going over this way, right? Okay? Now, if the course is changed, say the canoe goes higher, then it won't be like this, it'll be up and down. Yeah? Or say we have to fall off, or go more to port, then it'll be more like this, right? That's one small portion of learning navigation. All these calculations goes on 24 hours a day. That you saw the Italian. It's 24/7. Knowing where you're at, knowing where you're going, knowing where you came from, making sure all elements tie into what you, in your mind, supposed to be doing for navigation to get the vessel from one point to the next safely. Okay? So for us, we learn to observe him, to know what we're supposed to do so that we don't make an ass out of ourselves. Okay? I hope you guys realize how lucky you are, man. One, to be him here to be here, for him to be here. Two, to share that with you, and also three, to be sailing on the canoe with you guys. That don't happen very often at all. Okay? As we go along, anytime, like I told you guys can ask questions. He's on board. Talk to him. Ask him. Anything. Mahalo.
Out in the open seas, usually showing us the stars, the currents, the birds, the fish.
Swells and the constellations.
Name of stars, the weather, predicting the weather each day, in the morning, in the evening, the simple stuff.
Mao sits among the kids at Mahukona and waits for the sunset. Sunrise and sunset, the times when navigators read the sky.
This crew is really fortunate to be able to sail with him, to be able to have the opportunity to sit down and talk to him. I hope you guys realize how lucky you guys are.
At sunset, Mao teaches the students to watch the colors in clouds to know tomorrow's weather.
Tomorrow like today. No rain tomorrow. See the color inside the sunset? It's good. No more nothing. No red. No more look like smoke inside the sunset. Red is not good. Orange is number one good color. But red is rain, big rain. Now if we look the sunset, it's good.
Are you looking at right above the horizon, or are you looking more at the colors in the clouds?
You know, like this, from the water. And the color is...
Low clouds are okay?
Low cloud is no problem, it's okay. They stay the base for the winner. The wind is take the cloud away. But the high cloud is almost higher than the base for the winner. Now I go back to Waimea. I go meet in Ainoa.
It's Nainoa Thompson who in 1979 flies down to Saipan to ask Mao to return to Hawaii to teach him navigation. Mao had vowed not to sail the Hokulea again after 1976, because of the conflict between some of the Hawaiian crewmen and the white scientists. It was Nainoa's personal plea which brought Mao back.
I don't know who told Nainoa, I mean Saiba. You come back to Hawaii. You come teach me because after 1976, and then we try again back to Tahiti. How could I school? Oh, that's the problem. You come see me again. Yeah. That's why I come back.
So when Nainoa comes and asks you to come back,
Yep.
you say okay right away?
I say okay, because I feel sorry about him, because I know they don't know what. Everybody people in Hawaii, nobody knows. For the time the haole come, machinery come, everything go on. But when I come back, because the Nainoa comes in, maybe some guys, haole guys.
The crazy one with the howlies is they put an imo on the canoe. You know, an imo. Dirt, sand, rocks. You know what I mean? An imo. You just imagine an imo on any boat. You know what I mean? Any ship. Thinking that the old days the Hawaiians would do that.
Yeah,
you know what I
really.
mean? They were so heavy because the canoe was like this already. Yeah, you know. They were loading up more more down. We luckily made it to Maui. You know. You know.
1980, what do you say again? No more haole, only Hawaii.
So 1980, that's when you first start to teach Nainoa.
Yes, but sorry, medicine. I started teaching 1976.
1980, you're teaching Shorty and Nainoa together.
Yep.
So you teach them stars in the planetarium.
Oh yes. But in a planetarium, no more crowds. That's what I said. Crazy howling. Yeah, but he make the planetarium, he never put the crowd inside. I said, they make the planetarium clear. Every time.
A rare gathering of 5 navigators. Mao, his students, Nainoa Thompson, Shorty Bertleman, his son Cesario, and Chad Paishan. Nainoa flies in from Honolulu specifically for this reunion.
Lucky you make the iron. You know, we come way around. Come on. You gotta come with us, bro. It was the other day, 1980, Oscars. Broke the boom. How many times, Ma? Almost 5 times, yeah? You had to go fix them.
Splice it.
We break them, you fix them. Miss those days. See you guys, man. Good to see you. I better go buy cases of popcorns here.
What's really interesting about that evening is that the room was really quiet, and as you sit there and you look and see, just actually bear witness to who is in the room. You got Nainoa, and you have Shorty, and you have Ma, and you have Cesario, and you have Chad, and kind of gives you chicken skin, you know, because you're sitting amongst all of these really humble beings. It's quite amazing. I observe silence in the room, and I think what's important about the silence is that there's an internal focus and a reverence and a humbleness about them because of the tasks that they need to accomplish to be sure and to ensure that the canoes and that the people that the canoe supports are going to be well cared for.
1980 we sailed together, yeah?
Yeah.
Us three. In 1985.
85,
Hawaii.
86, 87, I stayed in Puana Pete and we was both.
You couldn't get the flight out there.
Yeah.
Has it been a while since you've seen each other?
Yeah, our lives are changing, evolving, different responsibilities. So I guess the freedom to be and have choice of time is not as easy anymore. I think that the voyaging experiences tends to propel us into different leadership roles. unfortunately, because the whole because the canoes have been so inspirational. So time is not as easy. Just want to say it's been, the times that I've been able to sail with Mom, of course, but as well as Shorty. He's a quiet man. He's very humble. In my opinion, he's just one of the world's greatest navigators. It's always been an honor to be with him, as well as Mom. And so, those times that we've been able to spend at sea, probably the most privileged time that I've ever had. To be here tonight with everyone is a very important moment, very privileged moment. 3,000 years of tradition.
That many?
That's the guess when, if you accept science and accept tradition, and we sit at the edge of humankind's going to allow for this generation to continue or be the last. A lot of people who understood the world unlike any of us today. And that relationship is so important to, I think, our human survival. And we're at the edge between this tradition and extinction. Scary time. Man represents all of that.
You come to Hilo in this month, 24.
Yes.
Good. The speech I make is not only you guys, you also the sister, for everybody.
That's good, man. Awesome. Hey, Jack, mahalo. Special night.
Okay. Nice seeing you again.
Yeah, all right, man.
I'll see you later.
I also try my best to learn as much as I need to. I'm not that good yet, but I'm still learning. Still a student, not a navigator yet.
As part of the Extravaganza Festival, which will host his tribute, Mao accepts an invitation to visit an observatory up Mauna Kea at almost 14,000 feet above sea level. The Extravaganza Festival will feature astronomers, scientists, and Mao's cultural studies of the sky.
Bobby wants to see the telescope.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do that for it. Why don't we do the telescope first, and if you're up
And he
for it.
wants to see how you folks look at stars.
Sure.
Yeah, Papa.
Everything has to work together, sort of in concert, and it's, you could almost think of it as sort of a living, breathing entity in a sense. The feedback loops, everything's working off one another. Actually, this is a star phone. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a young star, the bright guy there, with a ton of leftover gas and dust around it. This image was made of 3 images taken in the near infrared.
Taken when?
In the near infrared. So this bright star here looks very bright. You cannot see if you observe that wavelength that your eye can actually register.
Standing beneath the giant telescope, as Desmond Antone and reporter Bob Kraus ask questions, Mao fights to hide the sudden fear that comes upon him. He later reveals he heard the spirit on the mountain calling him to come die. The camera catches the terrifying fright which he tries to hide. He requests to leave soon after.
When I go up Mauna Kea, and my feeling is I a little bit feel scared because I'm thinking almost I see the spirit on the Mauna Kea when we go there by the house. Then I'm a little bit scared because I feel about the spirit on top of the mountain.
The following day, when Mao relates this story to Clay Bertelman, Clay explains that in the ancient days, the great navigators would go to the top of Mauna Kea, and instead of dying, they would ascend up to heaven, taken up by the spirit on the mountain. Mao's experience confirms two facts already known by the Hawaiian voyagers. The spiritual beliefs of the ancients were and are true, and in Hawaii, Mao is the one great navigator alive today.